Miami at Clemson, which is a very, very big game, folks. Clemson coming off a bye week, but the week before, as you all probably remember, the heartbreaking field goal loss to Auburn. I mean, Auburn hits the late field goal. Clemson had to lead the whole game, and they just lose it. I mean, that's got to be, broken heart, man.
It was a very good
such
game.
a sad game.
Very good game to watch. You were pretty sad.
I was a little upset.
I think I saw you cry.
I got a little bit of Clemson bias, but whatever. Dabo Swinney, he's a great coach, rallying the troops. But we got Ja'Cory Harris has thrown 6 picks this year. I mean, 6 picks and 6 touchdowns.
A lot of things were a lot of big things were expected of him at the beginning of the year, but he certainly hasn't shown it yet.
That's not the Ja'Cory Harris we remember from last year.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was okay last year. Bigger things expected out of him this year, but still haven't seen it yet. But it's still early.
And under center for Clemson, we got Kyle Parker, who's he's coming off of a bruised rib. I mean, he played through it last game, but that could affect him in this game. And you got Clemson on the ground. We have Andre Ellington and Jamie Harper. I mean, not the 1-2 punch that they used to have in C.J. Spiller and James Davis, but I mean, it's still a pretty nice 1-2 punch there. And we got in Miami's got they got Leonard Hankerson, who's got 16 catches for 241 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's going to be tough for Ja'Cory Harris. Ja'Cory Harris thrown to Hankerson. That could be a tough connection that Clemson's going to have to deal with. I think it pains me to say this, but I really think that Miami is going to take down Clemson in Death Valley, where the Clemson Tigers, they touch that rock, Howard's Rock, great story, run down the field. I mean, it's the most exciting 3 seconds in football.
One of the biggest traditions in college football, actually touching that rock when they come out. But I disagree with you.
Of course you do. You have to. It makes for a good show.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you why. I believe that Clemson had a very good game against Auburn, got out to an early lead, and I think their defense is still kind of feeling it from that game. So I think they're going to come out and really stick it to Ja'Cory Harris, make him throw a few more picks. He's already got 6 this season, so he's not as comfortable as he should be. So I believe Clemson is going to take it. I believe Clemson is going to win. Not by a big margin. I think it's going to be pretty close.
Well, as long as Ja'Cory Harris remembers what team he's on. Because if Ja'Cory Harris throws to Clemson secondary, I mean, then you got to take Clemson.
Miami's got pretty flashy uniforms this year. You can't mistake it.
Yeah, Miami, it's such a hurricane out there.
It's madness out there every year. But speaking of crazy uniforms, I just run into this stuff all the time. Are you done your games?
No,
you have one more?
I got one more. No, I don't. We got the mailbag left. We can't forget our faithful viewers. We can't forget our viewers.
Well, I got 2 more for you before we go into that.
Okay, well, we'll just have to argue with you for these last 2 games then.
But like I was saying, speaking of crazy uniform, they've got like 12 of them. Stanford at Oregon this week, game in Autzen Stadium, one of the toughest stadiums to play in the country. They get crazy every game, yellow and green everywhere. Oregon, one of the top offensive teams in the country, as we've seen the past few weeks. They've been putting up 60, 70, 80 points. Who cares? Yeah. Recent success over Stanford in the past few years, so I don't really expect anything to be different this year, although I do think it's going to be a lot closer battle than it's been the past few years. Oregon is ranked 3rd in the nation in rushing yards per game, total yards per game, and points allowed per game. So they're really working on all fours. Worst game against Arizona State last week. They struggled on the ground. They got out to an early. They were back like the whole first half, and then they picked it up in the second half and won by a pretty decent margin. So I really have a lot of confidence in the Ducks again this week, even though they could have a tough time with Andrew Luck. Stanford is also atop the rankings in points per game offensively and points allowed defensively. They're 4-0 for the first time since 1986, so they've got a lot of motivation. Andrew Luck, 2 picks last week, threw only 4 last year cumulatively. And he remains ready. He told the media, and he's working on it all throughout practice this week, and he's confident going into Autzen Stadium this weekend. Actually, against Oregon last year, Stanford won the game 51-42, but that was in California. They're going to go up the road and play in a really tough atmosphere this game. Sophomore LaMichael James, 475 rushing yards on the ground so far this season. That's second in the nation. I don't even understand who has. I don't even know who has the first. 475 yards.
Dirty numbers. Whoever has that
he runs
first.
all over every team. Darren Thomas, quarterback for Oregon, possibly could go over 1,000 yards on the season passing this weekend. Look for him to do that. I look for Oregon's a very aggressive team, offensively and defensively, so I look them to gun it in the air as soon as the game starts, even though they've got LaMichael James on the ground, who's easy enough threat to take the ball 80 yards. Mm-hmm. Andrew Luck is going to be looking for starting running back Stephon Taylor, who has 265 yards rushing, but he's also one of his favorite targets on the field passing, and Doug Baldwin, wide receiver. He's going to look to them a lot in this game, and he's going to need to. He's going to need to complete a lot of passes, and he had a great game against Notre Dame last week, and he's got a lot of confidence going into he has a lot of confidence going into this game, even though he threw 2 picks. He's been practicing all week. So I look for Oregon to win this game, not by a big amount. I know I say that a lot, but there's a lot of good games this week. Even though I can pick the winner, I can't really pick the final result.
As we have seen.
Yeah. Stupid Kentucky. But it's gonna be a very close game. But once again, I think that Oregon is going to win.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I would pick Oregon, but they're just the Ron Duck team. I would pick them if Gordon Bombay was coaching them. Gordon Bombay of the Mighty Ducks. I would definitely pick him. But that's not the case here. So I'm gonna have to go with Stanford.
Okay. Well, that's another great game to watch this weekend. I'm definitely going to be watching that one over any other game. So next we have Virginia Tech against NC State. NC State is 4-0. Best start since 2002, back when Phillip Rivers was there with the Wolfpack. They're in the top 25 for the first time since 2003. They're trying to stay calm and not get caught up in the record, but it's kind of tough since it's been 8 years since they've done this. Phillip Rivers, like I said, led the 0-2 team as a junior, and he was a senior in 03 when they were in the top 25. The team is very confident going into this game after these past few weeks, and the fans are actually really surprised. Mm-hmm. And campus is a very good place to be in North Carolina right now. Russell Wilson, the quarterback, averaging 289 yards passing a game, and the defense has forced 9 errors on NC State. So that's a main reason why they're winning the game. Why they're winning games, because Russell Wilson is able to convert on pretty much almost every drive. Yeah. But on the other hand, Virginia Tech has everything to prove. Biggest disappointment in the country so far this season, out to the losses against Boise State and James Madison, like we said. But they really battled back and showed their true colors, like I know they can do. Against Boston College last week, shutting them out. They've been preparing physically and mentally in all areas this week. Tyrod Taylor needs to attack on the air and ground against this NC State team, and really needs to ram it down their throats to kind of put the Wolfpack in their place, and just show them that they can't stick around in the top 25 forever. He's Tyrod Taylor's Virginia Tech's leading passer and rusher, but the man can't do it all. Everybody else needs to step up, both on defense and offense. It's all Tyrod Taylor at this point, leading the team in every area. Defense, like I said, has been highly disappointing, except against Boston College last week where they shut them out. So look them to kind of look back on that game and kind of focus on the areas they did last week against NC State, who is about an equal team to that of Boston College. They've just gotten out to a very good start. They look to put an end to NC State's streak this week, and this big BC win last week. I can't say enough about it. They're really just going to look off of this to kind of go into North Carolina this weekend and take this one. And the defense is coming around. So I believe that Virginia Tech is going to win this game, and I think they're really gonna show North Carolina State fans that their team is not as good as they seem to be.
Which is not a very nice thing to do, but they have to do it. You
have to do it. It's college football. Yeah. Tyrod Taylor actually putting up worse numbers than Russell Wilson, as Tyrod Taylor has thrown for 746 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions so far this season, but he's running a lot more than Wilson. Wilson has thrown over 1,000 yards already. He's one of the top-rated quarterbacks in college football. He's thrown 11 touchdowns and 1 interception. But he's going to face a very difficult Hokie defense this week. So I think Virginia Tech's going to win.
Well, I'm going to put this one into the cheesiest form that I can think of. I think Virginia Tech here, they do the hokey pokey and they turn themselves around and go to 3-2.
That was a pretty good one. I didn't even think of that.
Well, I didn't really expect you to.
That was a pretty good one. I'm not going to lie.
We're not done here yet, folks. Let's go to the mailbag. You ready for the mailbag?
Open it up. Let's go.
All right, here we go. From Nick Musto at Penn State University.
Main campus?
Main campus.
Here we go.
Kid's a smart one. He's a bright kid. Nicky, I love you. Anyways, which one-loss team will benefit more from a victory? Texas or Arkansas? What do you think?
Texas, absolutely. Oklahoma's in the top. Oklahoma's in the top 10 in the nation, and they're absolutely a better team than anyone that Arkansas is going to play this week. So I think Texas really needs to rebound this weekend and take it from Oklahoma, or else their national championship hopes are finished. Even though I think they're finished already, let's give them a little bit of hope. But I don't think that Texas is going to win, but they definitely need to win more than Arkansas, because I think Arkansas is still viewed nationally as a better team than Texas, because Texas hasn't showed anything so far this season, and a close game against Alabama only helped Arkansas and Ryan Mallett. Yeah. So look for Arkansas to contend the rest of the season. I'm not too worried about them, but Texas, if they can't win this game, they can kiss this season goodbye.
Yeah. Big concerns down there in Big D. Unfortunately for Mac Brown, Mac Brown seems like a nice guy, right? Maybe not, But but we'll see if Texas can turn it around. Thank you very much for your question, Sir Nicholas Musto. And that about does it for our show. Thank you for joining us for Just Joshin. I'm Josh Horton.
And I'm Josh Hippensteel.
And if you're a gambling man, do not go with him. We'll see you next week, guys.